Alright guys, today we are working on one of the final pieces of the puzzle for the Miata, probably the last big thing. What we're doing today is wiring on the Miata. I've been telling you guys forever, like, wiring's the last big thing. Well, it is, and that's what we're starting on. Let me show you guys what we've got here. First off, we got HP Twizzlers, as Matt from Sloppy Mechanics calls it. It's HP tuners to tune the stock ECU. We've got a stock ECU. This is a P.O. This was tuned by Matt. He put a base tune on it. For my setup, Matt, Sloppy Mechanics, I told him that I was going to be using 80-pound decap injectors, but I ended up getting these really nice Deechworks ones, which I think these are, I forget, 52 pounds, I believe, for, you know, our power rate and, you know, if we want to run ethanol and all that stuff. So, I'm going to have to, like, send it to him and pay him to retune it or something, or just figure it out myself. I'm sure he'll help me. He's a super nice, super helpful guy. Okay, so wiring harness. This is an LSX Specialties wiring harness. I'll put their information below. Basically, I sent them my stock harness, and they converted it into this super rad 3-wire harness. So basically, I got to run power, well, constant power, key on power, and ground. Other thing is, I messed up, and I told him I was going to be switching to an LS1 intake and injectors, which I never ended up doing. So these are LS1 EV1 injector plugs, which I have EV6 style injectors. But I got these little adapters on Amazon. It was like 16 bucks shipped, and they basically just convert from the EV1 to the EV6, and they're just a little plug, no pigtail or anything. So happy about that. Okay, this is the, like, in my opinion, the cool part. So this is an ECU Master PMU 16. So basically, this box is all of my chassis wiring. This is everything. This is my main power kill switch. This is my fuses, my relays, my switches, essentially. Well, let's get to that part. So we also have this CAN keypad. So I don't have a visual rep. Let me show you guys, like, kind of like give you an idea of how insane this is. That this is everything. Okay, so 1 second. So this is going to be your traditional, like, kind of like race car circuit. I mean, most car circuits function like this, but there's more complexity there. Simple race car circuit, you've got your inline fuse. So you've got power coming straight from the battery or a key on ignition source. That goes through the relay, so there's an in and an out. Then you have a trigger in, trigger out. So then that's got to run and wire to the switch. So then when you turn the switch on, you trigger the field, the relay turns on, and then sends the power to whatever is repowering. Say it's a fan, right? So all of this is your one circuit. This little box is 16 circuits. 16 circuits. It's solid state, so it's all the fuse and the relay and everything's in here, but it can be reused multiple times. Instead of burning a relay out or burning a fuse out or something over voltages, you can just reset the circuit. You can set it to redo it a number of times. There's a lot of stuff with this that we're not going to get into right now. We'll get into it when we start, you know, wiring that in. I got the keypad. So normally each switch you'd have to run an illumination wire, and then you're in, then you're out, right? So you'd have to run 3 wires per switch, 16 switches, a lot of wires. This, you have your, you know, power, ground, illumination, and then you have your CAN, and this is it. So these 2 wires can interface to this, so all of your switches communicate with this with 2 wires through CAN. Like, how freaking rad is that? So cool. This is so cool. This is like next level, like track car, race car wiring, and I'm very, very, very hyped about it. Imagine 16 of this. How cool is that? It comes with a connector, which will pin out. It's going to be fancy. I'm really excited about that. But today, for now, we're going to start on the chassis wiring. So I'm going to get this thing strung out, kind of show you guys and slash myself what we're working with here. This is it all laid out. So that's ECU. And then this is where all the fuses and relays would be. So we've got all of our outputs, like fan 1, fan 2, ignition, fuel pump power. Got speedo and tach and stuff if we're going to do an MB cluster and make that work, which you might do. All that good stuff. And then we've got all of our sensors. I went ahead and put the injector adapter deals in. We got our OBD2 port, so we can tune it with the HP Twizzlers. We got our ground, very important, engine ground. Yeah, so that's what it looks like. It's a very, very nice harness. They did a great job on this harness. I mean, this is one of those things, like, you can do it at home, but for me, I'm terrible at this stuff. So, like, it would cost me more in time to do it and end up with a crappy harness than to just pay someone to make a nice, beautiful harness for me to use. So, anyway, we're gonna get started on throwing it in the car. This is so exciting. Wiring. This is that thing that I've been saying. Okay, we're going. Okay, so let's see where we're gonna shove this wiring through. I mean, I would assume, oh wow, that's small. It's a very small hole where the factory wiring went through. Oh, just kidding. Just kidding. Just ignore me, guys. All right, so we're definitely gonna go through that hole. Or this can stay inside. What's the biggest connector we have to get through? This stays inside. We might be able to go through the small hole. I'll measure this. I'll see. The small hole might be a little too small. I don't want to like mess any of the connectors up. Probably be nicer to run it over here anyway. So indecisive, guys. You should know this though. Okay, yeah. First plan. Run it through. So engine-based stuff, interior stuff. So I had to enlarge this hole because I'm going to pass the wiring harness through here because it's kind of the most discreet, hidden-ish place. Okay, I reran the harness through here. I'm going to have to do something about this jagged edge. I just couldn't get a flap wheel in there or anything. I filed it down a little bit, but it's still pretty sharp. I didn't have any rubber hose to put around it, so for now we're gonna start wiring. I've never wired an LS before, so like it's kind of hard because I want to make it nice and aesthetically pleasing, which is hard enough to do when you know where everything goes. It's a lot harder to do when you don't know where everything goes. So we're just gonna start kind of like routing stuff and plugging stuff in and trying it. We'll probably have to unplug, plug, unplug, plug just to get everything kind of like where we want it. But we're just gonna go for it. We're just gonna try it. No sense in pondering about it all evening and not doing anything. Might as well do something and hopefully we figure it out. Alright, so we have everything connected, the injectors, the TPS, IAC, crank sensor, other injectors, alternator, I mean everything. Everything is connected that I know of. Still a little like messy right now. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna run the wires, but right now what we need to focus on, which is what's not connected, so I guess everything isn't connected. So we're gonna grab the coil packs, clean them off. So I did want to remote mount these. LSX Innovation sent me over a kit to remote mount them, but for now I don't want to waste any time on stuff like that. I just want to buy some plug wires, plug it in, like get going. Like I want to get this thing done. It has been way too long. So that'll be like V2. There'll probably be a handful of things we want to clean up for V2 of like the build. Man, these just kind of look, bolt packs look crappy on the valve covers. They look so fresh and fancy. All right, so I need to order some plug wires. I need to order a starter. All right, we are back. When I finished up the wiring the other night, there was not much more I could do. So today I drew up some brackets to mount the ECU. So that they're printing right now. Steve came over. I was waiting on parts, which is why we did that little Miata thrash experiment project, because I was waiting on these. It was a fun little weekend thing. Now it's at Ben's getting parted out. So we got starter, we got plug wires, got starter bolts. I was thinking about it, and after today there's not going to be much to make this run. I think we might use the jar from the Experimentata. Does that sound right? Experimentata. To just run fuel. That and like the Corvette pressure regulator that John has, and just run fuel to it, and then we just got to hook up a couple of wires for the wiring harness, and then we can do our first start, which is very exciting. But I do need to order fuel line stuff. So anyway, today we just got a lot of odds and ends to finish up, as we usually do. We're going to try to rebend these brake lines, again, starter plug wires, mount the ECU, etc., etc. I don't think we're going to get to chassis wiring until the next video. I need John's expertise for this just to make my life easier. It should be relatively simple. We don't have much to wire. I guess we should throw the starter in first. Hopefully it fits. This is a Amazon $57 Johnski. This is even cheaper than Rock Auto. Oh, quick little tool time. I got this new Milwaukee Impact. It's 3/8, which is super exciting. Oh, hold on. Because with this mid-size, I commonly use 3/8 sockets, and I always have to use these adapters, which always inevitably end up breaking. So Yeah, it's basically the same as this. Man, this thing's got some use on it. Just 3/8, which is really nice because this is my favorite impact. This is what I use for wheels and stuff. So it's really nice to have one that I don't have to put that stupid adapter on. Anyway, I just want to show you guys that. It's just crazy looking, like how greasy and beat up this one is. Still kicking. All right, well, starter is in. That was very simple since my exhaust is not hooked up yet past the manifolds. So that went very smoothly. Okay, I guess let's throw the plug wires on, and then we can start doing brake lines.
Vroom, vroom, vroom.
Very nice AC Delco Amazon specials.
Those are like race car because they're red, right?
Exactly. They're 17 millimeter wire.
You missed the opportunity to get tailored plug wires.
I know, I really wanted to, but they have bad reviews on Amazon, and I trust Amazon reviewers. Look at that.
Ooh, do you have the metal heat shields for them?
No, threw them away. Yeah, there was a set that came with the metal heat shields, and I didn't buy them because I was like, I don't need those. I don't run those on the vet.
I've always used them on stock plug wires, but never on aftermarket. So whether or not they are needed, I don't know. They are.
Look at
This is
that.
a race car.
We got plug wires, guys. It's
Man,
almost finished.
look at that. Oh, man.
Miata's done.
Oh, also,
We're done.
there's a pro tip. There's another coolant port here if you want to run like an aftermarket temp sender or something.
Fancy.
So-
Didn't know that. Okay, so I need to trim back and cut the fuel lines. We need to get them out of the way for our fuel or our brake line scenario. So we've got this hose going into this gas can, and then I've got my power probe. It's up back here. So we're just gonna try to pump the rest of the gas out of the tank. Sandy is supervising our progress. We got the fuel tank empty. Steve is working on the brake lines, the rebend process. The goal is just to get them away from the manifold because they're pretty close to it.
And kind of just make them to where they don't
Yeah.
look
Terrible.
Yeah.
It's a wired LS Miata with coil packs and plug wires and a starter. It's got a starter. It's very exciting. All right, I cut the fuel lines out so they end probably about like right here. So we're either gonna go AN fitting from there or again back to the bulkhead. I really want to try to do it from there. The only problem I have with that is then we have to retain the OEM fuel filter, which I have a Deechworks fuel filter, so I don't really want to do that. I don't know. I'm still up in the air on that, which is why I haven't ordered the parts, which I need to order the parts because I need them to make my car run. But we have our fuel pump in a jar, so we might get her started on this. We did run a bunch of bad chemicals through this, so it might not be, that might not be the best course of action. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I'm really happy to not have the fuel lines sticking up here that I wasn't going to use anymore. Steve finished bending the brake lines and then put this little clamp, P-clamps, that's what they're called. I might 3D print something for this just to make it a little nicer, but honestly, I'm just trying to get as much stuff done as possible. I was going to say we could bleed the brakes, but I don't have the brakes on and I'm changing all of the front suspension, so that's kind of a waste of time to just have to do it twice. I need to order a map sensor and a flex fuel sensor. Angle kit stuff should be here either this week or next week, so that's very exciting, because right now I have just a little like key ring holding the tie rod in. Shock is barely bolted in. It's my old coilovers. Wheel lug nut on that top ball joint because it's like stripped. It's pretty bad. So I'm excited to have the front suspension like physically done. What else? We're gonna try to see if we can do anything else. We still got some evening left, so why not? All right, so we decided on an ECU location. We're gonna do it on the trans tunnel where Steve has his. And then the fuse block I'm going to put in my like airbag compartment of the dash when I have the dash in. Because I'll take the airbag out like I did with my other dash, and then there's like a whole area with a cover basically. So I'll put that and the PMU in there so they're really easy to access. So the brackets are still printing, so to appease you guys who hate our bracketry here where we just tech screwed them in, we're going to riv nut these in. So it's this piece, you drill a hole, put it in the hole, use the tool, it mushrooms it, which holds it in, so you basically have like a blind to screw a bolt into. So these are M6, so I just use like the little bolts that are everywhere. These, all these are M6. So you have basically, you know, you don't have to have a nut on the other side because it's a riv nut. It's a rivet nut. Ready, set. I guess that wasn't really a change for a snap trick, but anyway, riv nuts are in. Now we have like proper M6 bolts. Look at that. We decided we're gonna riv nut the ECU in too if the brackets are done printing. If you guys have watched the video this far, you probably care about me, and thank you. Don't forget, I have merch. This is the garage built tee that Steve is wearing.
I'm the model.
And then, oh wait, yeah, do a model spin. Model spin. This is the no turbo, no problem shirt because
no turbo.
LS, no turbo. I love turbos, but you guys get the idea. And then I'll do my spin.
Oh,
how cringe are you with this whole section? Pretty cringe.
Like 9.5 out of 10.
I'm cringing myself right now. Okay. Yeah, I'm very, very excited about this. Me and Steve were just talking about it. This is like, I've always wanted to build a car like this. A car with no fuse boxes in the engine bay, like minimal wiring, nice and tucked and clean, and looks like it barely has enough to run. Like, I have always wanted to do this, but I've always had cars that, you know, were already running, or, you know, if you swap a motor into them, you don't really need to do that much with the wiring or whatever. So there's no reason to go this far, but to finally go this far and have it like, everything's been redone, all the wiring's been redone, and like this harness is so simple, and then our chassis harness is going to be so simple, and this is pretty much what it's going to look like running with just the addition of an intake. No crazy other stuff, I guess the white buckets. But like, it'll be really clean and simple in here, and that, I don't know, I'm just so excited to see it like with wiring, because before when it didn't have the wiring, it was easy to be like, wow, this looks so clean, but I'm gonna have a bunch of cluttery wiring in here. But it doesn't look very cluttery, it looks very nice.
No, you're just gonna have like one run of wire here for your headlights, and that's it.
Oh yeah, you won't even see that.
And
it'll be like a couple wires.
You can tuck it up in the fender lip really nicely.
Yeah, that's really it. I mean, that's it.
Yeah, because you're not running turn signals or marker lights or any of that, just headlights.
Yeah, so this is pretty much the completed engine bay besides an intake, and that's like so rad. I'm so hyped on this. I know this build has taken a long time, guys, but you gotta remember, I'm like 1/2 now with Steve, dudes in a garage. I'm making videos, making some money to buy more parts to continue the build. So like, I know it's easy to get carried away and see these channels that have, you know, these huge budgets and they can buy all the parts at once and overnight parts that they need, but like, I'm just not there yet, but we'll get there one day. So if you want to help me get there, I never asked for this, like the video, comment, and subscribe. I guess that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you next time. Say bye, Steve. You got to turn the camera around to say bye.
Oh, yeah.
Adios. Hold on, Sandy wants to say bye. Say bye, Sandy. 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 Just going to ignore the viewers like that? All right, goodbye.